All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Mob Psycho 100, Season 3, Episode 6. All right, the tree confrontation with Dimple fused with this great thing has reached a conclusion, a blow-up moment. We're going to see Mob end this.
Right.
But Dimple, like, what have you helped create here? Like, this could be bigger than you.
You know, yeah, it definitely
It literally is, but then also, you know,
right.
You know,
what do you want out of
figuratively?
This? Like, even in this fight, you know, it just ends up getting resolved by a very silly T-shirt. You know, so yeah.
Yeah. Were you really just trying to pull one over on him the whole time? That's it. That's it.
Maybe
you didn't want to do your own twisted thing of getting something out of this so you could help him, or you know, also maybe not really being fully aware of what you want, kind of like Shigeo was in his past.
Yeah,
but he's grown up and moved on, and you haven't. You're still clinging to the old ways.
Indeed.
So who needs character development here most?
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, we've got ourselves a broccoli situation that's potentially on the road to being resolved. But also, it's affected a lot of people right now. Whatever the fight continues to be, I don't think Dimple has it in him. There's a possibility that at this point Dimple gets kind of, you know, subsumed or replaced by this thing as like, okay, Dimple, your power has a cap here. I'm going to draw upon the power of the city.
Right, if you're starting to second guess things, then, you know.
You're no longer necessary.
Because this is also the halfway point of the season, and this is the final season, and like if the whole thing was resolved neatly right here, then what would we get for the second half?
Well, that's the thing, is that it wouldn't necessarily be able to be resolved neatly if you just end the Dimple situation, because it's Dimple's, you know, no longer a problem, but then what about the tree itself? It's still there, you know?
Right.
Does he just start becoming the weed whacker mob, you know? He just kind of just spraying shit everywhere.
And what kind of explosion is this going to be? Because, you know, it reached 100 at the same time as, you know, the silly T-shirt got revealed, so...
Right, did that interrupt the explosion, potentially?
Or maybe the explosion is just it's an entirely new kind of explosion that's not the kind we would expect. It's not some violent thing or whatever.
Or, well, it's an emotion of some kind.
Yeah,
you know?
an emotion.
Yeah. But y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Yes.
Okay.
And it's over. Whoa!
Oh, shit!
Whoa! Oh, shit. Wait.
Is he just gonna change the broccoli?
Yeah, or growing basically like almost like a new tree out of it. I think he's just under control. Nope, not attacking.
To really give Dimple the choice?
Oh, maybe.
But now he's blustering and talking instead of actually attacking him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn.
Nice.
Holy shit. 100% trust.
Nice.
Oh, damn.
Right?
Yes! Yes! No, this makes perfect sense! Oh! This is like when you wear your weeb shirts out in public.
Yeah.
And your friends are like, bro, that's cringe. That's amazing.
エクボは調子に乗ってただけなんだ。
きちんと努力に裏打ちされた自信を身につけた俺様とそこらにいるただの調子こいてるやつを一緒にするんじゃねえ。
僕も
Mm.
調子
Yeah.
Yeah, thinking I was popular and everything, yeah.
随分と調子こいてた。
Yeah, yeah.
ごめん。
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah.
適当に説得して懐柔しようってんじゃねえだろうな。
あの時にちゃんと話し合えばよかった。
Yeah.
自
Had
分がモテて
clear,
ばっかり気になって
total communication, yeah.
見落としちゃってたんだな。こうやって一人でも実現できるのにわざわざ僕を誘ってくれたんだ。それこそが一番大事なことだったんだ。僕のことを先に信頼してくれたのはエクボだったんだ。ありがとう。
おいおいやめ
Oh. Yeah. Baka.
漠然となんか違うなと思ってたんだ。こんだけ大勢の信者が集まってこれといった天敵もいない。
Yep, the world would have been yours.
Mm-hmm.
唯一好きな女を振り向かせたいって欲求からは俺様の中に潜む思いと同じものを感じ取れた。
Mm.
認められたい自分の存在を怖がらず
Haha.
疑らず結局こいつは俺様を
He slammed my head against the floor a couple times, but
Right.
you know.
欲の少ない修行と一緒にいたせいで俺様まで目的を見失い
Wow.
やべえじゃんそれ存在する理由がなくなっちまう。
ちゃんと聞くよ。エクボのやりたいこと、友達として。
Oh!
Yeah. Yeah. There we go.
今まで気づかなかったな。俺様は友達が欲しかったんだ。
Mm-hmm.
シゲオ、お前はすげえやつだよ。俺様が作り出した偽サイコヘルメットに関する記憶も消し去る。
Wow.
But what if the tree has other ideas?
供給源が消えれば神の力も失われる。
神になるのが夢だったのに。
お前が散々な突っかかってきたからやめるんだよ。
Yeah.
帰るか。
100% trust.
力を外に出しすぎたみたいだ。
Oh. Hey.
There we go. There we go.
This is some good shit.
そういえば、
Yeah.
コリをなんとかしなきゃいけないんだった。
それはどう処理するつもりだったっけか。
念動力で持ち上げて海に落とす。ちょっとかわいそうだけど、しょうがないんだよね。
人々は神秘的なものや圧倒的なものに魅了されるからな。
家に着いたら起こしてくれる。
召使いじゃねえぞこら。俺様をなんだと思って。
And he's out.
おい、
I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
何？
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
俺様はもう真珠をコントロールしている。
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
誰なんだお前は。信者や俺様の思いを吸収し、真珠は自我を持ち始めていた。
Uh-huh.
すでにサイコヘルメットという自我が発生していて、それ置いてけ。
No. No.
すぐ起きろ。やべえことになっちまった。
Just leave. Just leave.
Yeah. Just run.
Leave.
You gotta get out of here. 100% trust.
Oh.
Shit.
Bro! Crap. Okay.
All right. Run.
Leave,
Run. Run.
leave,
Run.
leave.
Run. Run.
ここで待ってろ。
Wait. No. No. Oh. Okay.
I'm gonna fight this thing. Oh my god.
Nah, just get out of there.
Ah, forget that weak to naturally lose his powers. He's gonna expend them all right here. Shigeo 100% trusted him. He lent him his energy.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Bob's still over there. Wow. Whoa. Let's go. Just because Mob and Dimple are gonna fight doesn't mean doesn't mean we're not getting a fight this episode.
Oh shit.
God, this is like we're back to season 1 with the whole takedown of the claw member here. What the fuck? Wait, the town?
Oh.
Wait. Wait. No, it's all fine.
What if this was an illusion?
No, I think he's just out. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. 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 Oh. He only sees Dimple. He saw it. No. Okay. No way. Wait. Did he do it?
Maybe?
We'll find out depending on how the crowd responds.
皆さん帰りましょう
Oh, Dimple! Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
兄さんすごいニュースやってるんだけど
It's getting yeeted into space! Nice!
誰の仕業かわからないけど何が目的でこんなこと不思議だな
You were pretty awesome after all, Dimple.
Yeah.
僕も思い出せない
Yeah, of course.
兄さんこういう怪しい話はエクボが詳しそうだよね今度聞いてみるよ
Yep, next time.
大丈夫
Yeah.
エクボありがとうエクボは友達だった
Oh.
Don't give us hope. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. All right, that's the
Okay.
end of an arc for Mob Psycho, and the end of a beloved character that that had his moments of us doubting him, where we didn't trust him fully, but to the end. No, we always believed. In some ways we were so focused on how Dimple was not really a bad guy that we were like, no, this is something that the tree is all doing. This is all something that the tree is kind of taken over, and Dimple's not even powerful enough to be able to do anything about this. But he was strong enough to be able to do this. In the end, he did end up having to fight his own thing that he kind of
created,
twisted and evolved into this creature and stuff, and that those consequences carried out, and he's gone. Now he could still come back.
There was that bit where the window was open and the breeze was blowing through the curtains, and
I was thinking that too. Yeah,
and I was like, if they show a little bit of green peek around the corner, but no, we didn't get that.
No, this is the end of the show, having closure for a character that's kind of been on the sideline for a good portion of the series, but also giving Mob like really, really crucial advice and stuff at specific times has been really nice. But Mob's grown up. He's a man now. He doesn't necessarily need Dimple, but you know what? He trusts Dimple. And I loved that trust isn't really an emotion. And yet his explosion was in some ways his first non-emotion thing there. His first non-emotion explosion, because it's not about whether or not he could convince Dimple strongly enough with some kind of overwhelming strength of even like a good emotion. It's just that he's like,
he just made a decision.
No, I don't need to worry about you, Dimple.
Nope.
You and I are friends. You and I are close. You wanted to do this with me. You spent so much time trying to convince me to do this with you, when you really could have convinced anyone just fine. But
Or done it yourself.
But you wanted me to be your friend. And
Right.
I really, really love the classic, like, hey, no, you aren't doing this because you're some evil god. You really just want a friend. And sometimes that is contrived. Sometimes it's pulled out of left field. Sometimes it has no weight to it.
Right.
But this was the entire character of Dimple, to the point where I didn't even believe that he was really going at this with all seriousness. I thought that there was a possibility that Dimple was being the one actually controlled. And it was going to be revealed that Dimple was being played by this thing as it gained too much, awareness.
Yep. I did not like this episode. This episode shook me, and I'm not entirely sure why. Like, I know why, but like I wouldn't expect something like this to have this deep of an impression on me. And yet it is.
Yeah.
It's because it's beautiful. It's simple.
Yeah.
It's straightforward and to the point. And
I think it's because of the vulnerability.
Yeah.
I think it's because that Mob showed in his own way that there was a vulnerability that he was willing to have with Dimple that betrayed all logic and reason, to the point where he was showing Dimple that he loved and cared about him beyond what was even sane, to the point of wearing the monkey t-shirt.
Yes.
It's the kind of thing where I feel like when you're really close with somebody, there's an element of vulnerability that is dangerous.
Yeah.
You open yourself up to get hurt a lot more with the people that you're close to than those that you're kind of close to, or strangers or what have you.
So you need to be careful about, who you let into that space.
Right. But there's a lot of times where people judge themselves as being unworthy of that level of connection. And so they do all these things to posture and prove themselves worthy of connection, specifically to certain people. And I believe that Dimple wanted that. He had elevated Mob so much in his mind that he was like, well, none of this other stuff is convincing him. So at the very least, I'll get to his level. It's the classic Shonen thing of I'll be strong enough to be his friend. And it's no, Dimple, you were always my friend from the moment that you basically showed that you cared about me in the earlier parts of the show, after the LOL situation.
Right.
Because Mob's whole thing was that people were constantly belittling and or looking down on him because of the way he acted and the way he lived, to, varying degrees, of course. We have Reagan obviously being the one who's the consistent one, and also still trying to use him, but,
Yeah.
caring about him. But Dimple, you were special. You had a lot of reasons to be, in some ways, the person who would ultimately use him. You were actually an enemy at one point.
Yep.
But no, you guys ended up becoming friends. You guys have been through a lot. And it's what Dimple, we've been through this. In some ways, the contrived part, which is really funny, is that Dimple would try this now thinking it would work. And
everyone has a bad day. Right?
Everyone has a bad day, yeah.
Like,
everyone has a moment where they kind of relapse a little bit. And that was basically what he did here. And I was worried that they were either going to go the angle of he undoes a lot of his character development just to get a one-up here so they can conclude his story, or that it's a way to set up a bigger bad opponent, which in some ways that kind of was what they did.
Except then it was also then resolved.
And then it was resolved, so it's okay, so no, he really just did want to have his moment sitting atop the sun, the horizon, the mountain, and everything, and be like, hey, Mom, let's come and look at the horizon together. And he's like, I get just as much enjoyment looking at the sun rising or the horizon from the ground level. I don't need to have this be atop some grand peak where we've crested humanity or something. That's not even something I think you want, Dimple. And that's so good. So good.
The talking the antagonist down is a very common, popular thing to have happen in a story, because it can be very impactful when it lands. But I don't think I've ever seen a situation where the antagonist getting talked down was one of the main characters along the way throughout the story, like from the very beginning, right? Because Dimple was introduced in episode 3 with LOL, right?
I feel like that happens a lot, though.
Yeah?
I feel like actually that's generally where it happens. It's with family, specifically.
Sure.
Typically, the family's all introduced at the same time. Star Wars is a great example of this.
Yeah, Star Wars was the big example
like
that
Father,
came to mind.
Please,
Right.
That's literally the the main. In some ways, more than Luke was the main character.
Yes,
from some
right. Well, yeah,
context,
it's the whole the prequels, the main characters Obi-Wan, original trilogy main characters Luke, and then overall main characters Anakin.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably the best other example I can think of. And it's just the dynamic between the two of them was it was rocky.
It was rocky. Yeah.
It wasn't something where the ability to have this trust and vulnerability and things like that was because it's the
they were so rock solid before.
Yeah,
that's
because
not the
then,
case.
Because then that's not really going out on a ledge. That's not really being vulnerable because you know it, right? And that's a whole different kind of special thing there, right? But this goes to show how incredible it is, the kind of person that Mob is, right? And Dimple, talked about that, right? Through the framework of your psychic powers and keeping them all under control and everything. And if that's the case, and the thing that throws you off is thinking about a cute girl. It's like, what? That's nothing, But but I don't know. This episode was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
I love that Dimple also was the one to fix the problem, not from the standpoint of he sorted through his own shit and so he paid the penance or whatever and then he's dead, because that's weirdly a lot of I feel like that's what ends up happening a lot of the times. And but no, when I saw the broccoli floating up into the sky, it's not just a thing of Dimple fixed his mistake,
right.
But it's because of Mob trusting in him, right? Dimple was able to ascend to greater heights than he ever could have imagined before, right? Even with all of his godlike powers, he didn't think that the broccoli, putting it into the ocean would be possible, right? And he's like, well, okay, maybe for Mob. But guess what? You did it yourself.
And you're sending that thing into space.
Right. You did one better. You shot the moon. Maybe don't actually put it on the moon. That could be bad, But
no, I'm genuinely still worried about this thing just floating in orbit. And slowly but surely, people then are like, wait a minute.
That thing?
Right, and then it gains more power instead of just being like the focus of then the little city, but then it's the world is like the Guardian still watches over us, because gravity is a hell of a thing, and actually getting it to leave Earth's orbit and upper atmosphere, that's a lot of power.
Now, see, Dimple did it, and it's fine, but the thing is that there's going to be some alien race out there that's going to find it and be fucked. And
then that's how they tie this into the One Punch Man universe.
It comes back with, a bunch of sprout tentacle people. Yeah. No.
But in all seriousness, having in some ways, this kind of mini arc focus primarily on Mob and Dimple at the end feels like there was kind of a little bit of a meta decision being made by the author, and that there's a set of close friends in Mob's life. Reagan, number one, Dimple, and his brother Ritsu, number two. And in some ways, Reagan is still number one, and that's why the OP ends with Reagan there, not any of the others. But these two, Ritsu and Dimple, have at multiple times been antagonistic towards Mob.
Yes.
Multiple times. And sometimes it's the other thing of where we as the viewer, I think, were led to doubt the connection that they had with Mob, like quite well. But ultimately, Mob's growth, Mob's arc that he's been on, has led all the other characters in a classic main character fashion to have their own growth as well. And so it's the ultimate, small statured one that ends up having the largest shadow cast over everybody else to bring them into the light of the next day, of the new dawn, or whatever happens for their future. So having an arc that almost feels like it was designed to exit Dimple out of the story, I feel like you could still bring Dimple back if you wanted to have the focus be around not how this was something about Dimple was the one getting all the focus here, but this is actually Mob finally accepting the responsibility that he has as a growing up young man. And it's the people and connections that you have in your life, you have tremendous influence over, and you don't realize how much those people look up to you. And now that this has happened, it's not just, Dimple has now moved on, he's out of the story.
Right.
It's in some ways, you don't need to feel like bad about this being like entirely your fault, but you do bear some responsibility for this sequence of events, and thus
remember to listen,
and thus exactly. Remember that your power is ultimately secondary to the love, the connections, the relationships that you have around you, and thus the final half of the season can be about those relationships in combination with facing his own inner demon, that is still the thing that, it's still there. It hasn't been. That's the nice thing that they can say for like a final fight of sorts that hasn't been resolved yet, is the question mark.
Quite frankly, though, I would have no issue whatsoever if the rest of this show, the full second half of the season, which is the final season, was just slice of life.
Yeah, I will 100% make a bet here that 100% make a bet that they're going to have this next segment of the story focus on more slice of life stuff, and 100% there will be a point where it goes full balls to the walls, bones blowing their load for massive animation fight that is something along the lines of him, fighting his own inner demon.
Right, maybe it'll be the what's his face guy that was the psychic that almost like defeated him in season 2. He'll come back or something, then Mob will have to defeat him. Or something like that.
Yeah, I really don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, it'll be something a bit more special than that.
It'll be something a bit more special, and it's going to be something tied to the question mark. I am 100% on board with that. The fact that didn't get brought up here meant that this was a point that this had to be resolved without Mob using his powers. And thus, then the next big conflict has to be resolved with him using both his powers and his actual person. Okay. And the thing that thematically makes the most sense to be tied to that is whatever is actually inside him. That element there. But
Gotcha.
I'm with you in that I would be 100% on board with it being a slice of life, focus coming up next.
Right. Showing, and not that would mean that there wouldn't be conflict, but that, no, like he demonstrated at the end of this,
the girls,
the power doesn't need to, have anything to do with that.
Reagan, there's a whole bunch of stuff with his family. There's a whole bunch of things that can be focused on that are just in the school alone that could be great for that. Yeah.
Being able to deal with his explosions in a safe way. Although I would say that this was kind of an example of that.
It was.
Because if you think about it, since he was building up to 100 from a bunch of other things that were stressing him out and things like that, the explosion of it was still 100% trust.
Right.
He took all of the anxieties and tensions and things like that and turned it into something else.
Right.
Right? So...
Yeah. I want to also not combat that, but kind of add a little bit of texture onto that. I feel like he used all those points where people were honest to him about, or maybe kind of held back their honesty a little bit about how the shirt was ugly, to the point that Dimple had an even stronger connection to him than some of those others because he was willing to blurt out immediately, what the fuck is that shirt?
Oh, yeah, totally.
But the idea still stands, like you're saying, that those connections there were...
There were other things that contributed to the 100%.
There were other things that contributed to that, yes. But the build-up was based on the fact that they weren't being entirely honest with him. So he was needing to, in some ways, rely on trust. It was something where if you want to...
Weren't there a bunch of things where he was just, like, getting nervous because, like, they were, like... pushing for him to do stuff with regards to like school events and
100%,
and like a bunch of
100%, yes. But there's a difference between him exploding and the build up to it to what he exploded out of him.
No,
so
totally.
all those things contributed, absolutely. That's why it's a build up, meaning it's actually something where he loses control a little bit. But the thing that I'm trying to point out is that along the way, he focused what the actual thing was going to be exploded about into trust because of all the experiences with those people and how that connected to Dimple's thing.
No, yeah, I think we're saying the same.
Yes, we're saying the same thing. I'm just trying to add extra emphasis on this element that an explosion can be redirected. It's not necessarily going to be contributing. No, the things that contribute to it are not going to be the same things that will then be the results of the explosion.
Or put another way, the just because Mob gets, I would say, is at a point where he is able to control the explosions, that doesn't necessarily mean that he can just wave his hand and keep the explosions from happening.
Yes.
The energy is still there. The percentage number has still gone up.
Right.
And then it's a question of what are you going to do about it, right? And then he makes the decision, I will let all of this tension go as trust towards Dimple, right?
Right.
And then there you go.
Yeah.
But he couldn't have just been like, no, I'm actually just going to choose to have it be 0 just cuz, right? That wouldn't work.
Yes, great point. So everyone lost their memories of this.
Even Mob.
That's something that I'm generally not a fan of in storytelling. I really don't like memories being wiped after kind of characters exit the story kind of things. But this was something where we had set a lot of precedent for Dimple's ability to brainwash.
Yep.
This being something also where, plot-wise, it kind of is impossible to have it really go forward if you had the world be affected in this way. But this is the thing that I'm kind of excited about, is that everyone still saw the broccoli going up into the sky. Which means that in some ways they'll
either worship it even more or...
Right. The lingering effects of their leader going off in death, and then it's the...
there will be a second coming.
Right. Do you have those lingering effects of the religion, but because, there's no,
plant to absorb the power from it.
Or rising on the third day, you don't necessarily have a boom after that of this cult religion thing. So in some ways you could have your cake and eat it here by having the memories of the events of them being brainwashed go away, but the memories before that where they saw the divine tree, where they experienced the joy, if you will, of community forming around the divine tree.
Yep.
That could all still be there, but the actual control part, that's erased because Dimple is not so omnipotent that he removed every single memory they ever had of the Divine Tree. It's just when they were brainwashed, he had control over them. So that portion of time
Just
is
wipes
zoop,
that. Yep.
skips it.
Well, and also, generally with amnesia kind of developments and stuff, the problems that we usually have with them is that it ends up happening with the characters who are relevant and went on the journey, right?
Yes.
Whereas in this case, this arc was entirely Mob and Dimple, right? Like
everyone else got control.
Like other characters
that, yeah.
were present, but it wasn't about them,
Correct.
right? So Mob gets his memory altered, but only from, as far as we can tell, the what did Dimple do, right? Even though he knows that Dimple did something. So the emotion is still there, even if the exact details aren't. And so you get the benefits of wiping the memory because the world doesn't go into chaos because of all the crazy stuff that happened, but you don't end up, getting rid of all of the wonderful things that happened.
Right. The thing that is generally still going to be tricky for the show to handle is that the progression of the story will have to be reset a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's not in that they're literally going to go back and undo anything with regards to Mob as a character. It's just that Mob is probably going to pretend in a lot of ways like either nothing ever happened because he can't really interact with people too much on that.
Right, it'll be something that he handles on his own terms.
Or the story will kind of time skip ahead and be like, and now another thing is going on. It's just regular life again. And I feel like that could be a thing where it's so a lot of this build up towards, the Divine Tree and its own nature kind of gaining this
sentience
and consciousness and all that is going to be potentially thrown away and not referenced again.
Which is fine. I was expecting it to be the big conflict of the season,
Me too.
but
the
decision to have it all end in this way and end this quickly, I think works out very well.
I think it works out really well.
We've got a good amount of time to do whatever else needs to happen before the show ends.
Yeah.
So.
But all right, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.